To continue on with my story, um, the breakup itself was not easy. I summarized it in the last one. I didn't really go into it, but you see, I was still married when I met my current husband now. And that was back in 2018. And no, I'm not condoning that part of it, falling in love while I'm married to someone, especially if that person is not my husband that I fell in love with at the time, right? Um, I had stated earlier in the last video that I came up with the brilliant idea of wanting to see other people while I was married to my first husband. And truth was, my accountability in that is I was looking for a way out. Maybe, but I don't think I was doing that in a smart way because, like I said, I did have one night stand, and while that was fun because it was at the same time, it I didn't feel great afterwards. Not my cup of tea, I realized, and I really just wasn't interested in looking and had to figure out a way to save enough money that I was not making at the time to divorce my ex. I had an original plan. My original plan was to actually move to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I wanted to move to New Mexico really badly. Like, I had dreams of moving to New Mexico. I'd only been there twice with my ex, and we both loved it. And we even almost got a house out there. And I think that if we did and moved away from his parents, I think our marriage would probably have been a lot better. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. We didn't get the house because they didn't take our bid. And there were a lot of other things that happened within that. One of them was that he did not want to put my name on the house. And his reasoning behind it was his parents. And that hurt. And I was angry at him for that. I resented him for that. But I resented him for a lot of things. And that just added to the pile of resentments. So, fast forwarding to 2018, when I met my now husband at a birthday party, I knew, I'm not going to lie, I've never felt this way about anyone, not even my ex. I knew that I loved my ex at the time I was with him. And I've loved people in my life in relationships, okay? But this, you know the saying, when you know, I, I knew, I knew. I've never felt that way before. I knew that was it. But I didn't really know, like really accept it. And the whole point was that he and I were supposed to be like friends with benefits. And I was telling my ex that. I was being honest with that. I was going to give him what he did not give me, even though it doesn't condone the behavior, which is honesty, transparency. I wasn't doing it behind his back. The thing is, it became an emotional affair, not just a physical one. And it started out as an emotional affair because we didn't get physical till December of 2018. I met him in August. Well, I've known him for a little bit, but I actually got to know about of him. I got to know him. I sat with him. I listened to what he was talking about when he needed to talk in August of 2018. Not, we didn't do anything physical till December of 2018. Kissing the man I'm married to now was my first experience at fireworks, which I've never seen with anyone that I've ever kissed in my life of relationships. They were like flashing lights behind my eyes. Like, so I'm assuming that's what the fireworks look like, right? And and then of course we got intimate with each other. I don't regret it, but my accountability in that was that I knew that I had to end my marriage with my ex. And in February, I asked for a divorce, in February of 2019. And that was probably one of the hardest breakups that I've ever experienced. And I've had breakups, but was that was awful. A lot of abuse, a lot of anger on his end, and rightfully so, but the abuse part not so much. Um, I was ashamed because I knew that I hurt him the way he had hurt me, but it was deeper on my end because it was an emotional affair, right? Things that he did during that breakup, it was like the monster reared its ugly head at that point. And I mean, at one point, he actually got on Facebook, put in a fake account pretending to be friends of my husband, my now husband, and basically threatened and harassed them online. And I didn't know about it till the next day. That was cray cray. I'm going to say that. I was sick and tired of the person I had let myself become in that relationship. I was angry all the time. I was angry and resentful and manipulative. And one thing I never did was lie. But I was so fucking angry because I was married to a man that I thought would love me the way I would love him, right? But instead, what I ended up with was someone who did not know how to stand up to his parents. And the reason behind that now in hindsight is that when you're raised by very controlling people who want to basically take away your ability to have an identity crisis because you need to have one. Everyone needs to have one because it's part of the process of growing up. And they just tell you what your life is going to be without even, and then threatening to not help at all with college if he decided not to go the route they wanted him to go. Okay. And then controlled him, crossed his boundaries, what have you, because a lot of the time he enabled it. I mean, I get it. You don't know how to tell them no. You don't know how to do that because because the shame that they pass on to you when you're raised by people who are like that makes you think that you don't deserve anything better. At the time, I didn't know this. I should have, but I didn't because I was so angry and hurt that I couldn't see anything else but the anger, the hurt, and the resentment. And I took it out on him because of that. That is something, again, that I'm learning to forgive myself for. It's been taking a while, but I'm doing better than I did. But every once in a while, the shame hits. And when the shame hits, I have to remind myself. So in 2019, April of 2019, the day before Easter, I moved out. I got a lot of help. And so began the rest of my life.